Welcome to the break room at Bill's Discount Foods in suburban Tulsa, Oklahoma. I hold one of the biggest secrets on the interwebs, and now I'm going to give it to you. I know who dressed up as Max Headroom and hijacked two separate television broadcasts on November 22nd, 1987. You know why? Because I'm the one that was going to do it. I was going to hijack Channel 8 News during sports. Chris Lincoln, the news director there, never gave the results of pro wrestling, and that really ticked me off. I sat down with who I thought was my best friend and gave him a detailed schematic of how I was going to do it. A few months later, my friend moved to River Forest, Illinois, and I never heard from him again. Later that year, I hear about this guy in the Max Headroom mask that hacked into WGN and WTTW and said a bunch of stupid stuff. There was no doubt in my mind who was behind it. I may be the moron, but he's a bigger moron. He didn't pay attention, and that's why things are screwed up. Broadcast intrusion is easy when you know what you're doing. Back in the olden days, a television station sent their transmission from the station to the transmitter through something called the studio transmitter link. First thing you do is jam the source. That's easy. You just take a Quasar brand microwave from the 70s and place it somewhere between the transmitter and the source. If you ever had one of those microwaves, you'd know it. Anytime you'd nuke a burrito, you'd lose cable. When the transmission jams, you basically own the airwaves. All you need then is a weenie antenna like this to overpower the station. After that, all you need is one of these 101 nerd kits from Radio Shack that you can buy at any one of the local branches. You basically use experiment number 45 in the book and make a few tweaks, and voila! Now you can take over your favorite local television station. Now, before you go out and try to take out Channel 34 in Toledo, Ohio, remember this hasn't worked since the transition to digital broadcast in the early 2000s. But here's where it's getting interesting. Commercial television stations didn't use a tricidelic oscillator to aid in audio rectification. PBS stations didn't use the tricidelic oscillator at the time because they were too expensive. This is what my friend didn't know. You remember when he busted into WGN? It just made a stupid buzzing noise. Why? No tricidelic oscillator. That explains why he panicked and tried WTTW later that night. Believe me, he just lucked out. He had no idea why one worked and one didn't. The biggest problem with the tricidelic oscillator costs about $1 million. However, I know the trick, and it involves one of these. A Radio Shack ripoff of the 1970s Mr. Microphone. They have the cousin of the tricidelic oscillator called the Salucidic oscillator. I know, the Salucidic oscillator has no quantum inhibitor, so how would you modulate the gravimetric fragmentation? Well, it's easy. Just wrap it in aluminum foil and duct tape. It'll do the job more than adequately. Now, almost 37 years later, I'm finally going to be able to reenact my broadcast that I was going to do. But I doubt you really care about that. You want to know who the hijacker was. Okay. His name is Bud Shatley. Last I heard, he was living in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And now, my grand vision.
Indiana State has just a few more stars than Larry Bird. They'll be here.
That does it. I think I'm better than Chris Lincoln. He won't cover the sports that fans really want to see. Now it's my turn. WrestleMania 3 occurred at the Pontiac Silverdome in suburban Detroit with a record attendance of 93,173. Festivities included America the Beautiful, sung by Aretha Franklin. In a mixed tag match between King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook versus Hillbilly Jim, Little Beaver, and the Haiti Kid, chaos ensued as King Kong broke the rules and dropped an elbow on Little Beaver, drawing a disqualification for his team. This was an act so heinous that Bundy's teammates turned on him. In a bout between Intercontinental Champion Randy Savage and the challenger Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, it was almost a stalemate, back and forth. The villainous Randy Savage attempted to thwart the rules and used the ring bell to incapacitate his opponent, only to be thwarted by George the Animal Steele. Amidst the controversy, Steamboat pins to win the fall and to become the new Intercontinental Champion. The main event was Hulk Hogan defending the world title against undefeated Andre the Giant. Things appeared bleak in the beginning when Hogan attempted to body slam Andre and was almost pinned in the beginning of the bout. After a one-sided match, Hogan mounted a heroic comeback, slamming the Giant and dropping his patented leg drop for the 1-2-3 and the pin. Now that I've given you the sports that you really want to see, I'll give it back to Chris Lincoln to talk about water polo, ballet, or whatever the heck he normally covers.
The Washington Hornets look like they're ready to sweep both the boys and girls title in the All-City Swimming Championships.